Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chatsur Unmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakaupatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Just to correct a few things Prabhu said about me. Usually they always say things which are not true. I usually don't say anything, but I think I'd like to say today, actually, I don't go to Philippines. I used to go, I haven't been there for many years now. But I used to go there, so that was one thing. And he said, I'm traveling all over the world. That's not true. I don't travel all over, no way. And then he said, have many disciples. That's also not true. I don't have many disciples. I have a few disciples, not many, very less. Trying to avoid it. Anyway, it's a valuable service. Somebody has to do it. And it's very nice to see so many devotees graduate. It's always nice to come and see the devotees graduate from these different courses, because it's so rewarding to see that the devotees are willing to take the time to study Prabhupada's books. And it's so important for us reading Prabhupada's books. Somebody asked me recently, they said, what do you think is the most amazing thing in Krishna consciousness? What do you think is the biggest miracle in Krishna consciousness? And I said, I think it's the effect Prabhupada's books have on people, how people's lives change just from contacting Srila Prabhupada's books. I came to Krishna consciousness also contacting Prabhupada's books. I saw a devotee in the streets in London. He was barefoot, dancing in the street, in robes. And I thought, oh my goodness, I don't want to speak to this person, But later on, I got a Krishna book from a store, and then I found some other books and started going to the temple, and I became convinced. Really, the introduction came from Prabhupada's books. And the more deeply we study Prabhupada's books, the more we benefit in our spiritual life. It's certainly very, very valuable for us. And now that you're graduating from the Bhakti Shastri course, you have to think about how to go on in the future. As Prabhu said, we have to think about implementing this Bhakti Shastri course. One of the things which always amuses me is I often find people who studied Bhakti Shastri, and I ask them, do you remember that verse? And well, they say, well, I did remember at the time of the course, but all forgotten now. So we encourage you, try to use the knowledge that you've got. Try to use it so that it doesn't dry up, so that you don't lose it. I think that's something important, You could go on and do Bhakti Vaibhav. Some people come back and do Bhakti Shastri again. They just want to go through it all again because there was just so much there, such a nice experience. So some people like to take the course again. Bhakti Shastri is taught in many places, not only here. Of course, it's very nice to be here in Mayapur and enjoy the atmosphere here in Mayapur, but it's also going on in other places around the world. And of course, a lot of classes are now also online. You're lucky you could do it on site. You had the benefit of being here in this holy dham. So that was very nice. So one thing you could do is do Bhakti Shastri again. Other thing is go on to Bhakti by Bhav. And one thing you could also do is start to teach. Start to teach Bhakti Shastri. And start to teach the things you've learned and implement them into wherever you're going, whichever temple or community you're based in, or even you may like to do it online, especially if you have if English is not your mother tongue, then maybe you could teach it in your local language. That's also something which is very valuable. You know, like somebody's Danish or Swedish or something, you know, right? Yeah, yeah. Prabhu here can teach it in the local language, which is always appreciated. We have one Mataji here, she's teaching Bhakti Shastri to 150 people in China, and she's teaching classes online there. And, you know, of course, it's all in Chinese. So Russian also, we have the Russian course going on here in Mayapur. So the mother tongue is important. It certainly helps people a lot to understand. On the parikrama, we'll be having, you know, we have like 7 parties, and one is the South Indian party. But in South India, they have several languages, several dialects. You've got, as well as Tamil, you've got Malayalam, and you've got Telugu and Kannada. Yeah, and so they all have to be translated. So, you know, there'll be different translations going on. So Bhakti Shastri, you know, if you can teach, if you have another tongue, which your mother language, which you like to speak in, it's very nice to teach the course, teach the Bhakti Shastri course in that language, and give more people the opportunity to hear it. One group of people we have in Malaysia, they're Tamil people. They come from South India, but they came to Malaysia when they were young, and they never learned to read. So although they speak Tamil, they cannot read it. So difficult for them to do Bhakti Shastri. But one of the ladies, another lady, she reads the book to them, and she will read it to them, and she will explain it to them if they cannot understand. And in this way, you know, she gets them to hear the course, and then she has them also answer and write the essay, and she will write it out for them, and they'll tell them, you know, they do because they can't read or write. So in this way, even illiterate people can have the opportunity to study Bhakti Shastri. And we're trying to give more and more people the opportunity. It's such a valuable experience for everyone. So we really appreciate all of you coming here and taking your valuable time to be here in Mayapur and study this Bhakti Shastri course. And I'm sure it will be enriching for you in the future if you go ahead and use what you've learned. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.